I get you now to Ziad Asali with the American Task Force on Palestine. He is in Washington. We've been listening to the ambassador from Israel speaking about the situation, and something that we've been debating a lot here as we look at Arab television, we look at what the Israelis are saying. Is this, in your view, an occupation now that ground troops have gone in?
Well, if you ask the people of Gaza, they would not hesitate for a second but to tell you that they are under occupation right this minute. In fact, they are not just under occupation in a large sense. They are under occupation in the fact that they cannot get out in the streets. They cannot stay in their homes if they have a basement. There is a complete lockdown on the life in Gaza, other than all the humanitarian causes that you talked about. It might not be an occupation in the legal sense that the ambassador might like to define, but in real fact, it is exactly that.
But at the same time, the ambassador says he is hopeful that within the next couple of days that somehow the world will come together and create some kind of wording to form a ceasefire of some sort. Yeah. Are you hopeful of that?
Well, I have two comments about this. The people right now are suffering from an incredible humanitarian crisis, and they cannot wait. They cannot wait for the world politicians to debate, and perhaps for days or weeks or whatever it takes, while they're relieved of the present danger to their lives and to their well-being that they're exposed to. There has to be a mechanism, a grand mechanism, a prioritized mechanism to take care of the humanitarian situation in Gaza. That's on the one hand. On the other hand, of course, this will end up in some kind of an agreement at the United Nations Security Council level, debated by so many people before. It may take time, but that agreement has to have in mind that eventually this whole conflict can only make any sense for anybody if it would lead to a stable situation in Palestine in general, not in Gaza. There has to be a state of Palestine somewhere down the road so that this sort of thing does not happen again.
But as you talk about stability, let me ask you this. Is it incumbent upon Hamas to come to the table and say, we will no longer fire those rockets into Israel?
I cannot imagine an agreement that is agreed upon by the United Nations Security Council that does not include a ceasefire that is imposed on Hamas and also on Israel, on both sides.
And in the meantime, those caught in the middle, what are you hearing about the situation on the ground? Because we have talked to our person, yes, our expert on Arab media here who monitors the situation, and they're hearing different stories within Gaza. Some saying we're supportive of Hamas, others saying, you know what, there needs to be some kind of solution here because there are 1.5 million people, innocent people, who are being caught in the middle of this.
I'm talking to many people in Gaza and people who are not even in the political process. People just want an end to this, to what's happening to them now. This is unacceptable. You know, people are living without electricity, some of them without food, certainly without cars. There are no mobility and no security, and it's cold and miserable, and the children are scared, and bombs are flowing. This is an unacceptable situation to the people. And the policy and military decision makers in Israel have to understand that this is a priority that they have to take into consideration. Top of the line. This is not a minor thing. They have to live in the neighborhood after this.
All right. We are losing our satellite window. I have so much more to ask you both, in fact, but obviously the time is running out, but hopefully both of you will join us again throughout the morning. Thank you so much, Ziad Asali. We appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you.
Much more to come.